When I was starting off as a photographer, I was charging around $250 to $300 per project, and I was really struggling to attract the right clientele. Flash forward to now, I'm working with my dream brands and I'm charging around $5,000 as a commercial photographer. In this video, I'm going to be walking you through the key moves that allowed me to scale my business, start charging higher rates, and attracting my dream clients. Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Kayla Mendez. I'm a beauty and lifestyle photographer based in Los Angeles. I'm also the founder of the Sunroom School, an educational community for photographers just like you who dream of working with brands. I'm so excited to dive into today's topic because I think it really extrapolates all the lessons and key moves that I've made along my journey as a photographer. And if you haven't already watched the previous video, in that video, I walked you through my journey from biochemist with zero experience as a photographer all the way to full-time photographer with a thriving six-figure business. If you haven't already checked out that video, I will link it in the description below so you can check it out. And so before we dive into the rest of this video, I have to just disclaim this $5,000 client number that I'm just throwing around, because when it comes to the commercial industry and pricing, especially for commercial projects, it is so nuanced and it's important to give context around the numbers that I'm actually using. And so when I say $5,000 clients, I am specifically referring to my day rate that I would quote for a full day of shooting. A day rate is your fixed rate for a full 8 to 10 hours of shooting. This does not include the full project estimate that I might be quoting to a client. This is just referring to what I'm billing for myself to show up and take photos. Now, depending on the client, I might charge a little more, and I might charge separately for the post-production or the licensing of the imagery. But for the context of this video, just know that that is my take home. And now I can have a whole separate video about pricing for commercial projects. So let me know in the comments down below if that is something that you would like to see from me. But without further ado, let's dive into the 5 takeaways that allowed me to scale to $5,000 commercial clients. The first key takeaway is arguably the most important and the most underrated, and that is doing the mindset work and actually getting outside support. I can't tell you how many years I wasted just trying to figure everything out through trial and error and trying to do everything by myself. And that is absolutely one way of doing things, but I would have benefited so much more from actually following a roadmap to success and actually learning from someone who has done what I have desired to do and could show me the path. And that's exactly why I created the Prolific program for photographers and videographers who want to work with brands. I can literally give you the roadmap that has allowed me to scale. And this is not just a shameless plug, but it's truly just showcasing the value of mentorship and getting coaching support. Because one of the biggest turning points in my own journey was finally investing those $10,000 in a business coach. And that act alone was also really big because that was the most I had ever invested in myself. And just that act of investing in yourself really is just showing the universe that you believe in your dreams and you believe enough to invest money, your time, your resources into working on your business. And that is valuable. That is impactful. And so I always ask my students, like, if you are struggling to have clients pay you a certain rate, I always ask them, like, have you ever invested that same amount in yourself? If you are struggling to charge your clients $5,000, but at the same time, you've never invested that amount of money in yourself, there could be a self-belief issue there, which then goes into my next point, which is your mindset. As artists, we are so sensitive to the world around us, how others perceive our art, how we feel about ourselves and our self-worth, what we believe we're capable of charging. And it's really important that we take stock of our internal narrative because it's what's creating our income and our creative potential. Because at the end of the day, you are the only thing that is holding yourself back. If you believe that you are capable of charging $5,000 for your clients and you believe that fully and you embody that, you won't feel that resistance within your body. It will feel easy. It will feel flowy. And as a result, clients will probably reciprocate that energy back to you. And takeaway number 2 is building your artistic voice through portfolio building. One of the things that set me apart at the very early stages of my career was that I was always posting the work that I did for fun, for my own creative vision and what I really wanted to be creating. Even though I would start to shoot for different clients, I was never really sharing that work. I was always really strategic in sharing the type of work I wanted to get hired to do in the future. So I was only showcasing the work that really aligned with my style. And that is the pinnacle of portfolio building and doing test or spec projects that really align with your artistic voice and promoting that, posting that first before your client work. Your portfolio is proof of the transformation that you provide to your ideal clients. What's the first thing that a prospective client asks you when they are looking to hire you? It's always, can I see your portfolio? And that just shows how important and crucial your portfolio is to the decision-making process of your clients, especially clients that you are now trying to ask for high ticket prices from. The most successful commercial photographers are the photographers who are constantly testing and experimenting throughout their entire career. Takeaway number 3 is to start treating your photography like a business instead of just a hobby. If you're a photographer who's currently side hustling but aspires to go full time, what I've noticed is that you set the tone for how people treat you and perceive you within this industry. So if you show up with a lot of professionalism and your business systems in place, you're going to find it so much easier to start charging higher rates. And the simplest example of this is by enforcing contracts. And so anytime you're working with a paying client, you need to have a contract in place, and watch how that sets the tone with whoever you're working with. Once you have something in writing that you both sign, it immediately makes people take the matter more seriously. These business systems can be simple things like having an LLC, having a business bank account, having contracts in place. All of these things will just up-level your professionalism. And as a result, people will start taking you more seriously and be more willing to pay you higher rates. And so when I was going through this transition within my own business, I was going through this during 2020. So I had a lot of free time and minimal distractions. And so I was able to show up to my business like any other 9 to 5. That same energy you need to apply to your photography. Another thing I want to add in regards to treating your photography like a business is actually realizing that when it comes to working with clients, it's just business and it's not personal. As photographers and artists, it's so easy to take it personally when a client doesn't like our editing style or they don't like a photograph. And we have to realize that this is not about us if we are actually doing photography for a business, right? Because it is a business transaction. We are providing a service. It kind of reminds us that we're artists, but we are also service providers. Key takeaway number 4 is learning the value of my imagery. Especially coming from the portrait and wedding spaces, it can be super easy to over-deliver on images and give my clients all the photos that they desire. But when it comes to the commercial space, it's really important that you understand the value that a single image has within the commercial industry. You are literally giving your copyright via a license so that brands can go and generate a revenue off of your intellectual property. That is insanely valuable, especially depending on the scale and the size of that brand. That's where licensing and usage and understanding how all of those different factors of visibility come into play when you're actually quoting for these brands. Because now you don't want to just charge for your hourly rate. You also have to take into account how much visibility, how much revenue are these images actually going to be generating for this specific brand. And that's why pricing for commercial photography and wedding photography is so different, because they have two completely different use cases. One is for personal use through organic social platforms and on social media accounts that maybe their friends and family might see. But for commercial usage, there is the possibility that millions of people are going to not only see those images, but also actually give them money because of your imagery. And once I started to understand that and realize that a single image has so much value, it made me realize that I wanted to align myself with clients who also saw that same value. In this world, there are clients at the $500 range and clients at the $80,000 range. It is up to you at the end of the day to decide who you want to work with. And that brings me to the fifth and final key takeaway, which is positioning. And positioning myself not just as any other photographer, but as a high value creative partner. And at the end of the day, brands are willing to pay more if they perceive that you bring more value. And of course, going off the conversation we just had before with key takeaway number 4, there are clients at every single price point. And what you'll notice at the lower pricing end, those type of clients are looking for button pushers. They're not looking for experts. They're looking for someone to just take a couple photos. They just want a 1-hour session. And those type of clients are not your ideal clients. And so it's really important that as a photographer, you actually understand how much you are actually bringing to the table that is more than just being another photographer. You are doing creative direction, location scouting, post-production, all of these other skills you are bringing to the table in one beautiful package. And that's exactly what brands are looking to pay a premium rate for. And so the more skills that you can bring to the table, that can really position you as a higher value creative partner. And so it's really important that you shift your mindset from, oh, I just take photos, to I help brands tell beautiful stories that drive sales. And so once you have that mindset shift and you communicate that within your marketing and your messaging, it will allow you to start charging premium rates. This allows you to position yourself as a strategic creative partner versus just another photographer. Because at the end of the day, high ticket brands don't just want a button pusher. They want someone who is the expert. They want to hire someone who understands their brand, who has a unique creative vision and can elevate their project in order to drive more sales to their brand. So they don't just want someone who's generic. They want someone who is specifically positioned to help solve their creative problems. And that wraps up our 5 key takeaways that allowed me to scale from $250 to $5,000 commercial clients. Let me know in the comment section down below which key takeaway resonated the most with you and how you are actually going to be applying this to your own business. And if you are interested in becoming a commercial photographer, I want to invite you to download the free commercial jargon cheat sheet that I will link in the description below. It is a glossary of commonly used industry terms that I think will help you in your next photography negotiation. And so I hope you found this video helpful. As always, give it a like, give it a subscribe. This is a new and growing channel, and every single interaction is so meaningful. So thank you in advance. And of course, I will see you in the next video.